This is a Union Carbide subsidiary plant in Bhopal, a central Indian city with a population of just under 1.5 million. The name Bhopal gained notoriety across the globe after the 3rd of December 1984, when the pesticide plant accidentally released 40 tons of a lethal gas called methyl isocyanate, or MIC. Nearly 3,000 people were killed immediately, with thousands more affected. To this day, up to 22,000 deaths are believed to have been caused by the disaster, which has come to be regarded as the world's worst industrial accident. Over 120,000 people continue to suffer from such things as cancer, serious birth defects, blindness, breathing difficulties, and various gynecological complications. The immediate cause of most of the deaths and injuries was pulmonary edema, a swelling or fluid accumulation in the lungs. So how did it happen? The plant was built in 1969, before being adapted 10 years later to produce carbaryl, used mostly as an insecticide. MIC is an intermediate used in the manufacture of carbaryl. The actual cause of the accident was the introduction of water into a methyl isocyanate holding tank, which resulted in a huge temperature increase to over 200 degrees Celsius. The toxic gas produced led to a pressure release in the form of an explosion. But how the water got in the tank is another story. It seems, as is so often the case, that cost-cutting was one of the chief culprits. Before the plant was even built, cost was cited as Union Carbide's refusal to locate it far away from densely populated areas, as local authorities requested. And from 1982 onward, there was a long litany of cost-cutting shortcuts and safety violations made at the plant in response to falling profitability from decreased sales of pesticides. Just one example of the widespread malpractice is that 70% of the plant's employees were fined prior to the disaster for refusing to deviate from the proper safety regulations, despite pressure from management. When confronted with the disaster, though, the response from Union Carbide management was that the incident was caused by deliberate sabotage, a claim that has never been substantiated. Nor has anyone ever been prosecuted or even publicly named for such an act. Unlike Union Carbide's company chairman, Warren Anderson, who was charged with manslaughter but escaped to the US. He has since been living comfortably in the Hamptons. Years of legal wranglings followed the disaster, but other issues have also arisen, particularly ongoing health problems and contamination of the area. When an out-of-court settlement was finally reached in 1989, Union Carbide agreed to pay $470 million in damages. Not that much when it's considered that by then it had already spent $50 million on legal fees alone. By October 2003, the company, which was purchased by the Dow Chemical Company in 2001, had paid families of the dead, on average, $2,200 by way of compensation. The recriminations and accusations continue. It was a foggy morning on Saturday the 28th of July 1945. So foggy that when Lieutenant Colonel William F. Smith contacted LaGuardia Airport on his way to Newark to pick up his commanding officer, air traffic control wanted him to land. He believed, however, that despite the restricted visibility, he could navigate through New York City. The last thing LaGuardia heard from Smith were the ominous words, "From where I'm sitting, I can't see the top of the Empire State Building." At 9:40 a.m., having avoided several other skyscrapers, Smith's B-25 Mitchell bomber hit the 79th floor of the Empire State Building, sending fireballs through the offices of the National Catholic Welfare Council. Smith was killed, as were his 2 crewmen and another 11 office workers. There was one miraculous tale of survival, though. Elevator operator Betty Lou Oliver, who plunged 75 stories in an elevator car and lived to tell the tale.
Three, two, one.